back spasm.
Perfect timing. All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Meet the Team Google chat with the Canadian Sevens Women's Rugby team. As always, I'm your host, Natalie Marquino, aka Swiss Beats. And today we're joined by the Canadian Women's Rugby team. Well, not the whole team, but 5 players who are connecting with us from Victoria Island in British Columbia, which is really cool. So thanks everyone for being here. Starting with Captain Jen Kish, who's joined in order by Magali Harvey, Manny Marchat, Ghislaine Hendry, and Ashley Stacey. So welcome back, guys. Oops.
Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, and thank you. Thanks for doing this. I know you guys have done it before, and it was a really awesome conversation. I know that these tend to be a little bit awkward for everyone involved, so I appreciate you guys subjecting yourselves to torture once again. So let's get started. First of all, monster year for your team, which culminated with a first place finish in Amsterdam 7. So congratulations on that. And boosting the ranking overall to second in the World Series, which was a first for the Canadian team. And also the biggest event was earning an automatic bid to the Olympic Games in 2016 in Rio. So I'm basically just out of breath just going through everything that you guys have done. How does everyone feel after such a busy year?
Yeah, it's just been it's been a whirlwind. Like the whole series has been crazy. Lots of third place finishes, and then a 6th place, and then a 2nd and a 1st. So kind of leveled out and then dipped down, and then kind of took off for the last 2. And that's kind of been our tendency, is to do better near the end of the season. And it was just a phenomenal finish for us. We were all super excited. We're super jazzed. Yeah, it was unbelievable. That's been our goal for the last 4 years, ever since Sevens was announced as an Olympic sport. So to be able to reach that goal that we've been working towards for so long, it's just been super fulfilling for all of us.
Yeah, and actually, this is funny you mention that, because this is basically how we're going to segue to the next thing. But the last time we talked was actually after the 2013 World Cup in Russia, and I congratulated you guys on a 2nd place finish, and I'm pretty sure everyone was like, that wasn't our goal. No one wants to finish 2nd. No one cares, Natalie. So obviously a much better position this time, and I'm curious to see, after having been so close a couple of times and just not being able to close it out, what was the focus going into this final and being able to pull it off?
We've lost a lot of close games kind of in the last play of the game or the last couple of minutes. So for us, we put a bit of work into how to finish a game when you're ahead or when you're losing. And in the last minute, we were down. So it was kind of all the training that we had done and all the conversations that we had kind of paid off to put us in that moment and execute finally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think overall, since the inception of the World Series, you guys have won a lot of tournaments, but none of them were in the World Series, so it's like that added pressure. And I mean, is this something that, did you feel more pressure going into a final in a World Series? I mean, having been on the losing end of the finals against you guys, I know how that felt, but how do you guys approach, do you approach a World Series event maybe differently than an unofficial event?
I think leading into London, it was stressful because we really needed to finish well for points just to qualify, or a chance to qualify, and so there was a lot of pressure in London. And then, once we made the final in London, the pressure in that final kind of eased off a bit, because we just wanted to be top 4, right? Like, you're top 4 at the end of the day, and you're going to qualify for Rio, and that was our main goal this year. So then, leading into Amsterdam, when we, went 3-0 on day 1, and then well, sweet, we made the quarters, the quarters, so we've qualified. So going in on day 2, it's like anything after that is icing on the cake. So going into that final, we were just like, well, here we go again with Australia. It's another 20 minutes, and we're just going to give the best that we could, and it worked out well for us. And it's ironic to me because Green as the one who kind of nailed the
Called out.
I'm calling out Green if you're watching. Kind of nailed the head on our coffin, and then and then it was kind of got the turnover on her, and then just got it back in the last 9 seconds, and we were able to keep the win. So it's always a great match against Australia, and I mean the pressure winning a World Series, like we want to win, but we look at more of the process before the result.
It's cool. John talked a lot, especially after Langford not doing so well in London and Amsterdam, about really focusing on the process and putting in a really good performance. And if we played the best that we could, the result would take care of itself. And I think that mentality really came to play in London and Amsterdam, and it showed in our games that we just wanted to play really well and as a team, as a cohesive team. Because in Langford, it was a little bit more individual for whatever reason, but it felt really good to play as a really tight unit and a really good team. So they were good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's definitely a testament to you guys having, when we watched, when I was watching and I see, you've qualified and you're getting interviewed because you're going to the Olympic Games. I think as a team, it's very easy to kind of rest on your laurels, but it just seemed like you guys turned it up the next day. So I think that's just makes it that much more impressive to be able to stay focused and not just, be happy that you've accomplished something that big for your country and for your team. Another thing that was a huge standout in Amsterdam was Jiz's performance as an individual contributor to the team. And, I've been reading up a lot about it. A lot of people are calling it a breakthrough season. And I personally completely disagree, because if you look at the numbers, you've been doing this year in and year out, finishing with, I think it's like 57 tries this year, 39 tries total the year before. So each year is about the same amount of tries, being under pressure to convert your own tries, convert your team's tries. So first of all, congratulations on like a super solid season. But also congratulations on not only being a top scorer this year, but overall top scorer over the last 3 seasons, which I'm not sure if everyone realizes that you're now in top position. So now that I'm done with this little speech, on a personal level, what has that meant to you?
Well, personally, like an individual goal is to actually get through the season and be a part of all the tournaments. In the past couple of years, I've struggled with injuries. So there's a lot of work outside of training to stay healthy and stay on the field. So for me, that was the fact that I could do that this season, I think was pretty fulfilling for myself. And then, like Pat said, it's the process, and then the results just kind of happen. And it wasn't a goal of mine to score tries, but being on the field and able to play for my teammates was, I guess that's the product of it.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. These are really long seasons. They start, training starts at the end of the summer, and then you go into a season that kicks off in November, just finished now in May, and then there's some other tournaments coming up. So this question, I guess, is for Mandy and Magali. Like, you guys went into the season last year, and you both won and competed at the 15th World Cup. Had a phenomenal tournament there, only to come back and continue to train for the 7th season, which is really exhausting. But how do you guys manage that to keep your body essentially in one piece to be able to play year-round over 18 months?
Well, I think we were really good staff who they tend to manage us really well. So whether that's kind of cutting a few things like in the gym or on the field, just to kind of keep our bodies right, whatever you need as an individual. So everybody's a little different. I think that we have a really good staff and people behind us to help us along to manage our bodies to withstand like a really long season.
What she said. No, for sure. I think the staffs really take into consideration our well-being, kind of actually get in tune with how our body feels, and then they adjust accordingly.
Cool. So let's switch gears out just a little bit. Coming back to the series, I mean, the series has been expanding. Started with 4 stops. Some stops got removed, some added. We added the stop in Canada, which is great for you guys. But as it continues to expand, what other countries would you guys like to see added to the series?
Australia.
New Zealand.
France, maybe.
I think
Fiji.
I think so.
Yeah, Fiji, Bali.
Yeah,
Take it to Bali.
Bora Bora, I don't know. Awesome. And what's you guys' favorite spot right now on the circuit?
Yeah, I don't know. Just not being a part of the team in Langford, but being like a spectator, it was probably one of the best tournaments that I've ever been to personally, and I think they nailed it. They really hit that one home. It was a really good tournament.
A lot of the
yeah, go ahead.
a lot of the solo women's tournaments don't actually get that many fans. So for us to have, I don't know what the total was, but to have a ton of tennis there, even if it was small, was pretty exciting to play in.
Yeah, it was definitely packed there, which was really awesome to see. And if you could pick one favorite rugby memory from this season, besides qualifying for the Olympics, what would it be?
The one that sticks out in my mind is being in the tunnel in Langford and ready to run out on the field. And I just remember because the stands kind of like the tunnel was right under the stands. And thanks to Kish, she put on Hey Brother, which is kind of like our team song.
Yeah.
And it was like super emotional. Like the whole team heard it, and everyone was just banging in the stands, their feet clapping, like the loud clappers. Like my heart's beating thinking about it again. It was such a cool experience being at a home crowd and having them, like all that energy and passion backing us. It was really cool. That's probably my favorite.
I would say watching John revert to a 5-year-old boy after we won that final in Amsterdam and jumping up and down. He was so excited.
That's good.
He actually said, "I love you guys."
Yeah.
I really remember. I love you guys.
Was anyone able to record that just to make sure you can tell him that did happen? Awesome. And then just wanted to ask a few questions that were sent in as well from a couple of fans that unfortunately weren't able to join live. But the first question is, if a couple of you guys could share your experience in getting started with rugby and what helped you make the decision to become a professional rugby player.
Well,
We're all gonna have to take it so someone can go.
Okay, so I guess for me, I really enjoyed sport, and school wasn't exactly going the way that I had wanted, and I'd always wanted to pursue something at the highest level. So when rugby came along and it presented myself, and knowing that I had to move to a different province to pursue that goal, it wasn't even a question. My parents backed me, and it was just something that I knew that I needed to do, that I wanted to do. And I just went and I did it.
Anyone else wants to share their experience?
Sure. I started, it just so happened I was in high school and it was introduced for a school. Everyone had no idea what it was, so it was the scariest thing ever, just to jump in. I remember my first practice, I had a bloody nose and I was ready to just peace out. And then I stuck with it, and as I kept playing, I just started to realize I really enjoy it. I like the dynamics, I like the challenge, and I like the team spirit within the sport. And when I went to university, and from there I got recruited for the national team, and I knew that I really wanted to be part of that team, players that I'd always looked up to, and suddenly I was by their side, and I wanted to stay there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So one question from a fan that I thought was interesting and unique was that she's a young rugby player, and she finds that a lot of people don't understand, and she feels like she's often judged for being sort of maybe out of the ordinary athlete. So is that something that you guys have experienced in your personal lives, and do you have any advice for her?
Oh, they're all looking at me because I look different now. Honestly, yeah, I get judged all the time, and I get people staring at me, and I'm used to it now. I used to think that there's a reason, well, there's always a reason why they're staring, and it's obviously because I'm covered in tattoos. But I got judged when I was 16, and I put our national symbol on my calf. And I was judged by the older athletes that were playing for the senior national team, and I got judged by people in rugby from club members saying that, why do you have this tattoo on your calf when you haven't even played at the senior level, the optimal level that there is, and you haven't gone to World Cup and all this stuff. And I pretty much, like, all I had to say, and I had my friends, and my friends really backed me, and this is what I wanted to do, and I really didn't care what people had to say or think about me, because if I did, then I think I'd be very I don't know, I guess I wouldn't have the confidence I have today. So that was a personal experience for me, and I think you're always going to go through life, and there's always going to be someone there judging you about maybe your sexuality, or what you eat, or how much you sleep at night, or what school you go to, or how much money you grew up with, or whatever it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you surround yourself with other positive people in your life, by family and friends, then that's all you really need, because haters are always going to hate, and that's always something that I've always said. So let them hate, and you just carry on, and you never put any energy towards that stuff, because you're too good for that, and you're going to go places, and as long as you stay positive, it's gonna stay positive for you. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well said. I'll leave my neutral mediating for a second here to say well put. One last question from me here, and then we'll open it up to our friends here. But if you could teach your younger self anything, what would it be?
I'm sometimes I get irrational, and I'm only saying that because, like, we're in a stressful environment all the time, and when you're flying and you're jet lagged and you're coming off a high, and rugby sevens up and down, and whatever, and so sometimes you get irrational and you lose your patience, and so one little thing I changed about me is maybe being a little bit more calm and thinking my actions through before actually doing them, which is actually a really good life lesson as well. So, so overall, just be better.
I'd tell myself not to take things for granted. That, like, for rugby, for instance, that at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last game. That it doesn't matter what you accomplished in the past, it's what you can do now that counts. So not to take things for granted.
I think for myself, it would be not overthinking things. Things haven't even happened yet, and I have really bad anxiety, so I really overthink things and take it like a few levels too far. So I think just like take things as they come in the moment, and just kind of learn to relax a little bit.
Nice.
As I got older, I learned to just trust my instincts, and instincts are kind of built in you for a reason, and they're a good way to guide through life. And I think the quicker you learn that, the better off you're going to be. And I would just, if I had learned that a bit earlier, I think I'd be in a good spot.
Mine's probably kind of similar to Mandy's, just like enjoying the moment, like really embracing what's happening to you in that moment, and not taking anything for granted.
And if I could add, stretch comes in handy at the end of your career. Okay, awesome. All right, so time for some fan questions. We'll start with Reagan. You're muted, Reagan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is, how do you guys get pumped up before a game? Is it like, do you guys do individual things or a team thing?
Well, our captain Jen Kish loves to do our little pump up, our pump up thing for us. I guess. Do you want us to explain it to you?
Yes.
So we all kind of get in a circle, and Kish does breaths with us. So we really like calm our heart rate down, get ready for the game. She does 3 breaths, and then we get pumped up. So we all get shoulder to shoulder, and we start rubbing our hands together. Send energy around the circle, and then we try and really connect as a team. So Kish kind of goes. She calls out the number of claps that we do. So and then we all clap together the number of claps, and then after that, we just get into our team, and then we run onto the field. And it's been a tradition for like the last 2 years now, and it works really well for us. We all feel super connected after we come out of that huddle and ready to go onto the field. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of a team, like, and for yourself, you could always start a new tradition. It doesn't have to be that, but for your own team, you guys can figure out what's good for you guys.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, Kelsey, your turn. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Got it. You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is mostly for Ashley and Ivy because you guys are the smaller ones, but like, because I'm a pretty small player too. And like, how did you guys, if you guys had a fear of tackling and spreading out like the people who were 3 times bigger than you, how did you overcome that fear?
Get low. Yeah, we a lot of the girls we come up against on this series are definitely bigger than us. And I mean, I've been fended a time or two, and you take when it happens, you take it. But yeah, if they're bigger, just the lower you get their knees. No one's got big knees.
People do. Like Mandy.
Mandy has dainty little knees.
They're big quads.
Yeah, don't be afraid to go into a tackle. I mean, I've tackled Mandy plenty of times, and sometimes it doesn't feel the best, but if I'm afraid to go into a tackle against somebody, then they're going to run me over. But if I'm confident and I'm ready and I'm low and I'm powerful and on my feet and I know that I'm going to drive forward, I will probably own the tackle. So be confident. And just because someone's bigger than you doesn't mean that you don't have the power to take them down.
The great thing about these two is that they take space away from the attacker before the attacker can get to full pace. So they're very fast at taking space away. So then when they get in the space, they're there already on the girl's legs and down. So
Tackle.
and tackled. But yeah, that's what they're very good at.
All right. Janelle, are you still there? I'm not sure. Can't see any image from you. Are you there? Do you want to ask a question? All right, we'll come back to you. Ellen, your turn. Okay, so there's some sound issues on her end, so she says, what or which qualities of your teammates do you think make the biggest difference on the team?
In the call.
Hello.
I can't.
Did you guys hear the question from Ellen?
Helen?
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, sure. What qualities of your teammates do you think makes the biggest difference on a team?
I think the fact that everybody actually has, I find everybody on our team extremely different, that it creates such a really awesome, welcoming environment for everybody. Like it's really loving and friendly and caring, and everybody's just wonderful as a group.
We have like speed demons, we have playmakers, we have powerhouses, we have shifty people. So we have a combination. I think what's so unique about our team and like why we all work so well together is because we have different combinations that work well. So if, for instance, you have Jiz and Megs working together. Jiz, they can do each thing. They're finishers. They can finish, or they can set somebody up and let them go. Or I'll just use a better example. Karen and me, for instance. Me and Paco.
Money.
It's, Paco lets me do my thing, and then I pass to Paco, and Paco has the speed to finish it. So where my weaknesses are, I find the strengths in my teammates, and that's how we play off each other. So, and I think that's why we are.
I misunderstood the question. Sorry. So, that's it right there. That was it.
Oh, man. All right. I think Janelle's back with us. Janelle, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Oh, and bye. So, wait a second. Janelle, can you hear us?
Maybe she's getting an award.
Oh yeah.
Sure, she looks at her like that.
All right, we'll wait.
Hello?
Oh, Janelle, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yeah, perfect.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hi.
That's not true.
So last season I was playing and I tore my ACL, and I'm going back this next coming season. I'm wondering how you guys deal with injuries.
Well, dealing with an injury myself, you kind of, because you're starting back at the beginning, it's almost like you look at it as an opportunity. So it's really hard because you're kind of stagnant to begin with, but the small victories, I don't know, it builds a lot of character and it builds a lot of strength in somebody to be better for yourself and for your team and just in general when you come back in full. So maybe look at it as an opportunity. So when you step on the field the next time, you're going to be bigger, faster, and stronger.
I think with that too is having in your mind that you're not always going to succeed. So physio is really slow, and so when I tore my MCL, you know, I thought I was Superwoman, and I thought, I don't. People are telling me this is how long it will take to heal, etc. And in my head, because I don't like to sit out, and I don't believe I'm really injured, that I'm going to be back ASAP. But you know, and I almost kind of set myself up to fail mentally in that aspect because I was wanting to do things that I physically wasn't able to do at that time. So you really have to have patience when it comes to an injury, and you really have to do everything you possibly can, what your physios are telling you to do, and then take it day by day, because expect to cry a day, expect to be in a bad mood, expect to have those good days, but like Patter's been through a shoulder surgery, Mandy's been through shoulder surgery, Gislaine's finger surgery, ankles, like and Maze has another something, you know, we've all had
Elbow.
So
I have something.
we all had injuries that have completely sidelined us, but like with that being said, we've, you know, you can't have the mentality that, yeah, I'm going to get back right up there, because even when I came back and I was out for, you know, I was playing rugby, but not on the international stage for 10 weeks, and I went to London, and I said, okay, like, I am ready, but in reality, like, no matter how much running I did on the sideline or whatever, it had never compared to a sevens game. And so it kind of took the wind out of my sail, and I said, holy cow, like 7 minutes is really, really hard for me right now. When that's where I left off, I was in the best shape of my life. So, yeah, just as you're rehabbing, just know that it's going to take time. You're probably going to have those days where you want to cry, but then surround yourself with people who will put your mindset back where it needs to be, and then you'll eventually be back where you were, but not right then.
And like Mandy said, celebrate the small victories. Like, that's what gets you through when you have an injury, is celebrating the small victories. Like, yes, today I could actually get to full extension, or yes, today, like, I could do a full leg curl. Like, those are the small things that get you back on the field. So really celebrate those too.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Eli.
Thank you,
your turn.
ladies. I can't wait. Can't wait to watch you guys if you come to Toronto.
See you there.
I'll be at Toronto. But alright, so this is my question, and it's kind of like a serious question that I know people are going through too. So what's your biggest advice to someone who feels uncomfortable because they identify as a gay person in the sport of rugby because it's so much contact?
Sorry, can you
Can
repeat
you
that,
repeat it one
please?
more time?
I'll go slowly. I talk fast. And plus, I'm nervous because Magdalene's watching me. What's your biggest advice to someone who feels uncomfortable because they identify as a gay person in the sport of rugby? Because it has a lot of contact.
I would say for anyone who's nervous or uncomfortable about identifying as gay is to maybe dig into why you feel uncomfortable, and if it's because other people don't accept you or someone's kind of giving you a hard time about that, then, I mean, if that's who you are, that's who you are, and you celebrate that and you be you. And anyone, I mean, for me, anyone who's ever given me a hard time, I either put them in their place or I remove them out of my life, because for me, that's who I am. I celebrate that, and I only kind of associate with people that are okay with that. And I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in the media about bullying and negative experiences. And if someone is going through that, then I would kind of try to remove yourself from those people and that kind of situation, and spend time with the people that appreciate you and accept you for who you are, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
What if they're so afraid that they want to quit rugby because of what it is? Because they're scared of what their teammates will think of that.
So well, when I'll tell you. So in high school, that's when I came out, and I was afraid to tell my teammates and my friends, and because you hear people talk and how they use the words, the inappropriate words that are directed to homosexuals, and like you and whatever. So there was a lot of fear that I felt, and I was very scared to say like how I was feeling and etc. And then I told how I started and how the rest of my teammates found out, and this is in high school, was I told my closest friends, and some of them were like, what, shocked, which is always shocking to me, but okay, so they're shocked, and then they kept it, they made me feel comfortable, so then I had a group of people around me where I felt comfortable being who I was, and then I told one more person, and then finally, word spreads, and then my rugby team found out, and I told some people on my rugby team, and and I wasn't the only one. I was just the one coming out in high school that everyone else was afraid to do, and so, and those people that weren't okay with it, I had no time for it, and I've already built a great base around me of support, that those people that gave me a hard time about it or didn't accept it or didn't want to be my teammate took a hike, because no one can be that ignorant, or some people can, but you just have to build a really good base around yourself, and then slowly tell people or whoever we're talking about, or in general, but just have a really good support base, and your teammates, if they're your teammates and they just love the sport, they're going to leave your sexuality out of it. Sexuality and sports should never be hand in hand. They should not be brought in. You're a good athlete because you're a good athlete. You're not a gay athlete associate. You know what I mean? So it should always be separated, anyways. So.
And I think sometimes what people don't understand scares them, and they can act out. So if that's how you feel and you want to, I don't know, bring that to your team, maybe if you feel comfortable or whoever, just try educating them, ask them if they want to understand it, and try maybe help them in that area.
All right. Awesome. So, all right, Dan, your turn. Go ahead. Dan, can you hear us? Looks maybe frozen. If you want to chat me your question, I'm happy to ask it. Let's go to Cass. Cass, you want to ask your question? You want to unmute yourself?
Beautiful. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Dan.
Okay, thanks. I wanted to know, essentially, you're part of the group of the founders of the Women's Sevens World Series. Where do you think it's going? Are we getting more teams in, more stops, et cetera, I'm just curious to see what you think about the growth of the Sevens Series and maybe growth of rugby in Canada because of what you're doing.
I think definitely like rugby in general in Canada has taken off, and I think even after the Olympics, it's just going to take off even more. People are starting to get behind us as a team, and they're realizing the successes that we've had, and I think they're starting to be really excited about it. And I think the Olympics is just going to get to that many more fans and have that much more excitement around it. And I think women's sevens in Canada after the Olympics is going to be really, really exciting, and I think we're going to see crossover athletes starting to come into the program. I think it's going to be super competitive in the future. I can't talk to, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but that's where I see it going.
I would hope to see some more sevens leagues around the country as well, like whether it's provincially or whether nationals become sevens or how that takes place, I'm not sure, but just more rugby being played, more sevens being played, and that's only going to bode well for the future of the sport.
Awesome. All right, Cass, your turn.
All right, can you guys hear?
Yep.
All right, sweet. Mine's more about pregame. My teammates laugh at me because I've had a pregame ritual for like 5 years now, and it's very, I do the same thing at the same time, for my 2-3 hours beforehand. Do you guys kind of have any like weird things that you do prior to the game that you kind of feel like once you get on the pitch, if you haven't done it, it's just like you don't feel like you're ready to go?
Puke. We said this last time I was on the call, and it's still happening. Just not so much anymore.
Yeah, a lot of our day is actually mapped out in quite a lot of detail. So our pregame routine is actually kind of the same for everybody in terms of where we are, when we are doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't have any specific things that I have to do. There's a few things that I bring with me to every game that I kind of feel comfortable and safe having with me.
What do you bring?
Private?
What?
Who knew?
I don't know if it's a ritual. I think I started pretty much during the 15s World Cup. I started straightening my hair and then like slicking it really bad with hairspray.
That's your routine?
Yeah, like I straighten my hair and then like I spray it and then always it's so slick back and then I make it really tight and I hope that like it won't mess up, but it always messes up. Yeah, it always. But yeah, I straighten my hair.
Sweet. Okay, so for our next episode, we'll get to the bottom of what Jizz brings to the games, I promise. That will be the only focus.
I'll never tell.
We'll see. One question that came in through Twitter from Stephen Haro, I think, is who would win a fight between Paco and Hurricane, and an actual hurricane?
Karen.
And what if the hurricane was named Hurricane Karen?
That'd be ugly.
Be the end of the world.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think I want to thank everyone that took the time to participate, and especially you guys. I know that it's busy being a professional athlete, and I think all the fans appreciate that you're taking time out of your day to connect with them and answer some personal questions. One thing that someone wrote in and that a lot of people have been saying on the call before the call is that they absolutely love you and that you inspire them to be better players and better people on a day-to-day basis. This was something that Jazz Jasmine wrote in. So, you know, I'm really excited that you guys agreed to do this. I think that really helps the sport in general, and hopefully it helps Rugby Canada a little bit. And, you know, congratulations again on a phenomenal season and all of your successes. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to have these FaceTime chats with fans. We really appreciate it, and we love, you know, chatting with our fans and having dialogue, open dialogue, because we know how much the support counts and how much we love it, and so we thank you all. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and hopefully there will be more, and we will find out the secret item next time. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.